shrill cry of the cold autumn wind stifles even the heaviest of your bootsteps. The towering walls of the labyrinthine structure loom over you and seem to funnel the wind directly down this corridor you find yourselves stalking through. All four of you have your armaments at the ready and tread silently, even though you believe there is no possible way anything could sneak up on you. The maze you're navigating is flat, straight, and most importantly, still. Though somehow you're starting to get the feeling creeping up the back of your neck that you might be lost. After 4 hours of taking the first left, or second left, you've come across 12 dead ends and 2 paths you're almost positive weren't there before. But now as the sun sets at your back, you exit the maze into a beautiful and peaceful grotto. A small pool of clear, still water sits in the dead center, and butterflies dance between flowers that blossom in the meadow around it. A single giant oak tree reaches up and beyond the gigantic walls. After a moment of scanning the area for threats, you allow yourself a moment of reprieve. You've found a place to camp for the night, with clean water and perhaps, if you're very lucky, some game for you to hunt for fresh meat. With a smile on your face, you sheath your sword and remove your pack before draining the last of the water in your canteen. And that's when the serenity is shattered. A deep, bovine-esque bellow roars out and echoes off the walls of the grotto, followed by heavy clomping, like hooves on stone. The bellow repeats itself, and you scramble to your pack, where you loose your crossbow and knock a bolt as fast as you can. The third bellow is much louder, and you can hear something primal in the call. It's almost upon you. You begin to whirl from entrance to entrance, waiting for a sign of the beast. And then you hear a snarl from back the way you came. You pivot as quickly as you can to point the loaded crossbow down the hall, and you see it. A gigantic bipedal bull with hands the size of your head and horns as long as an elven short sword. You make eye contact and you can see the fury in its eyes, and it lowers its head and begins to charge. Roll for initiative. Hey there, creatures, and welcome to Encounter This, a podcast exploration of the creatures from Dungeons & Dragons and the lore that surrounds them.
Hello there, creatures. Holy moly. Or as I used to say as a kid, holy mackerel. Welcome to another episode of Encounter This, where I, Freeman Red Minotaur Eyston, will be joined by James the Riddler Kid to go through a very classic creature, something from the cultural lore region I feel like we haven't covered in some time. The Minotaur. The Minotaur. If you want to follow along, it can be found on apparently 2 separate pages in the Monster Manual, page 233 and 273. Care to explain, Mr. Riddler?
I could,
okay.
But I think maybe we just wait until we get there.
Oh, okay. Hold on to your butts, everybody.
So, full disclosure, this episode's dropping a week later than it normally would because I was on holiday and then I moved. So I figured we'd include a little something extra special for the listeners today.
Yeah, I don't know if you're actually. I meant to ask. Are you familiar with the phrase "holy mackerel"?
I am. Yeah, I don't know where it comes from or if there's any cultural reference.
That was something I said all the time when I was a kid. But I said it for a couple of reasons. Yeah, one, because we are sort of, I don't know if a week late is the proper term, but we took an extra week. But like, it's actually been a while since we recorded, because when we did the Naga suites, we did that very condensed and released over the month. And so we've taken a bit of a break. But more importantly, you have an office now.
I do. Yeah, I'm in it now. I don't have to boot my loving and understanding fiance out of the living room when I'm trying to record this dumb show that we do.
Welcome to the first official recording in the new office. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's today's actually a big day. Not only is it the first official recording in the new office, we're finally out of our old place, and I got a new set of wheels today. So the future is bright.
James and I have been talking about cycling a lot lately. We're both looking for a new... Well, you're not looking anymore.
Not looking anymore. Dude, that ride home was so nice. I was so happy with it.
That's awesome. Well, let's talk about the old Minotaur. I mean, we don't have to jump ahead, but I feel like they come from like the Greek-Roman mythology era, which my brain always goes back to Harpies, like our episode 1, when talking about that stuff. But... yeah, I'm excited to see what's in store for this creature.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one, I think. There's going to be a lot-ish here, so hold on to your butts.
Yeah, I assume it's rich lore in the same vague sense that all the lore from that time comes from. You know, it's like rich, but like super inconsistent.
You know what? It's actually not bad. It was pretty easy to follow. So,
all right.
But let's, as is tradition, start out with the D&D lore. And in the Forgotten Realms, the Minotaur's fur is consistently stained with the blood of their fallen foes, and their savage battle cry is enough to still the blood in even the bravest adventurer. The mighty Minotaur stands ready to destroy with a savage ferocity only told of in stories. And here today.
Can I just say I love the phrase "enough to still the blood," because that just basically means they've stopped your heart.
Yep.
Heart attack on site.
They scream loud enough that you can no longer be alive. That you die. For those of you who don't know, the Minotaur is a large anthropomorphized bull, meaning it's bipedal, and specifically anthropomorphized means it has opposable thumbs to use weapons, which, you know, it does. It is rarely encountered without a massive great axe.
Okay, cool.
And they have a brown or black fur, which, as we touched on earlier, is usually matted and stained with blood. And of course, they reek of death. So the males, aka bulls, stand approximately 2.7 meters tall or 9 feet. And females, also known as cows, stand 2.1 meters or 7 feet. So there is a little bit of a height disparity there, but I think that's just due to the actual real world size of cows and bulls. But I didn't really go into bovine genetics for this episode.
Slacker.
I know.
Didn't we before, though? Didn't we go into some weird fucking bovine German Nazi genetics program or something?
Yep, we certainly have, yeah.
How does that come up twice? That's fucked up.
Cows, man, they be crazy.
Yep.
So they're said to be similar to build as an ogre, which will come up again later. And their horns are similar to bulls, except that they're curved forward instead of up.
Okay.
And we have a quote here from Elak, the Minotaur gladiator of Thay. "I've wielded every weapon man and dwarf have invented, but nothing compares to these." And he points to his horns.
That's great.
Yeah, that's a fun one. And said horns range from between 1 and 3 feet long.
Okay. Oof, that's a good length.
Yeah, they're huge. That's the size of a short sword.
Kind of redefines using a weapon as an extension of your own body, eh? Like the horns just like, they are part of your body. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that vein with the longer horns, they also have a longer than normal snout, leading to a pronounced olfactory system, which is their primary method of chasing prey. They don't see as well as you might think, but they smell very, very well. And it's even large in comparison to what a bull would have for its size. Like they're extra long.
Gotcha.
And even though there are multiple minotaurs, they tend to be solitary carnivores that roam dungeons, caves, primeval woods, desolate ruined cities, like anything, any place you'd find me.
Mm-hmm. If only you could see his office.
Yeah. They have this ability where they can visualize every possible route in their domain. So it makes it a really effective hunter and ambush predator, which is great because they care for very little for tactics or strategy. They just want to find and destroy, and having this almost like photographic memory of their locale is very helpful for that. And because it's 5e, they also have a lust for carnage stirred by the sound of tearing flesh or cracking bones.
It's almost getting boring at this point.
Okay, so, yeah, maybe a little bit.
They all prefer the flesh of men. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but this can send the Minotaurs into something akin to a blood rage. Like, it can actually overwhelm their personality, and it makes them very difficult to control.
So they become unintentional barbarians, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah. And we have a creation myth for D&D. They were thought to have originally been created by Garen, which is one of the demon lords, from ogres. But this was then retroactively corrected by the juggernaut we know and love as 5th edition. So, according to 5e, they are dark descendants of humanoids transformed by occult rituals. Cultists that reject oppression and authority and yearn to return to nature or the natural way of things, or a more simplistic and bestial consciousness.
So they were like intentionally like reverted themselves to something more bestial.
Yeah, very much so. And inductees in this cult can indulge their primal urges, hunting, killing, eating raw meat, though inductees usually end up as ritual sacrifice, and everybody else becomes rewarded by being liberated of their humanity and changed into Minotaurs. So, unknown to most members of these cults, the cults themselves were created by Baphomet, the Horned King, whose lair of the abyss is a giant labyrinth. Baphomet ensures those transformed echo his own savagery, hence this blood rage the Minotaurs purvey.
Mm-hmm.
And they can breed with each other, giving a pure race of savage children. But they can also interbreed, so they can breed with humans or whatever race they originally were, as well as with...
So we have, like, Minotaurs
creatures.
can be, like, that once were an elf or once were a human. It doesn't just have to be human. And okay, interesting.
Or you could be a pureblood Minotaur, somebody who was born a Minotaur.
And giant labyrinth, or Minotaurs usually associated with labyrinths?
They are, and we will get to that in the cultural lore. Very, very much so, yeah.
Cool. All right, sweet. It does seem like a very loose connection for 5e, though, eh? Like, the cult was created by Baphomet, who happens to have a great labyrinth, and so it's like a little more disconnected, but at least it's there.
A little bit. It is, for sure. And if you look at some of this artwork, you can really see the Baphomet connection, specifically in the 1E. Like, that looks exactly like the head of it looks exactly like Baphomet.
Oh, yeah.
2E's a little out of proportion.
It's a bit questionable. It looks like someone's wearing a mask. It's
kind of fun.
It's like a big horse mask.
Yeah.
But a bull version.
Yeah.
3 looks like a Yeti.
Is just something else. Yeah, it does. It's got this compacted face, these massive outward-facing horns.
Yeah. It just looks like a Yeti that doesn't live in the snow and tundra, like in a more temperate environment.
Yeah. It looks like the Sasquatch from Marvel Comics if it had horns.
Yeah, totally.
4E looks like concept art. It's wearing like this scale mail with no sleeves. But I like the backwards bend knees. The horns are pointing forward, which is good. But they're also curved in this way that doesn't really make them usable.
Yeah. It would kind of like, I don't know, you could side headbutt someone.
Yeah. You'd really have to get the head in between the horns and then just rattle your head around a little bit.
It's not terribly sensible.
But the 5e art, this is what I always think of when I think of a Minotaur. This thing is statuesque. It's it conveys this aura of calmness. As the forward pointed horns. It has the human proportions, but they're definitively bovine. Yeah, and it just looks like it could wreck house if it was so inclined.
Yeah, at first glance, I was kind of like, the 5e one's boring. But now that we've gone through them, I think the 5e one is great because it's simple. And it exudes exactly what you described. The horns are the right place. It's just, it just looks good. He doesn't look monstrous, but he looks intimidating, you know? Doesn't look like some like otherworldly, like grotesque creature. Just looks natural. It has a very natural look to it. Except for the tail. The tail gets me a bit because it looks a little bit like a vestigial wing coming out the side of his thigh.
That's fair. But that's actually what a bull tail looks like. So it's not that far off. And I really like the perspective that this is drawn in. Like it really conveys the size of this creature. It makes me feel small when I look at it, which is
even with nothing else in the picture for reference. I agree. Like it just looks like it's a big something. I mean, I think the hands are really doing it because it's a two-handed axe, but its hands are massive. It's almost out of proportion with the rest of its body, and it's really cool. I like it.
Yeah, I really dig that art. But speaking of previous editions, they were at one point immune to the maze spell, which is kind of neat. I love that for them. No longer in 5th edition, of course, but
is it not?
In the current edition, no.
Oh.
No. In the current edition, they are rumored to have originated in Chult, claiming the ancient city of Omu was actually built by Minotaurs, which is...
okay.
I guess technically a spoiler for Tomb of Annihilation, but we've talked about both Chult and Omu in our previous suite, the Naga suite. So. And that's pretty much it worth mentioning for D&D lore. There is a bunch more. There's the ecology of the Minotaur. There's all this, like, their social habits, but as we've stated, they're solitary creatures that just want to hunt and kill. So I didn't really feel like it was worth going into it. If not, if you're interested, there's a great article on the Forgotten Realms, and as always, we big love to them. But we do have a couple of honorable mentions here. Okay. First is Magrath the Minotaur, which is a pirate minotaur from the novel Cormyr, a novel, which is the title.
Cormyr, a novel.
Yeah.
I love it.
I actually think I need to start reading these Cormyr books because they seem awesome.
Yeah.
The next one is Taurus, a very uninspired name for a gladiator from the game Hillsfar, which is for the C64.
What's the C64?
Oh, the Commodore 64. Sorry.
Oh, Commodore 64. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. Can't say I've ever even looked at one. So,
next up is the Red Minotaur from Hillsfar and Neverwinter Nights, Tyrants of the Moonsea.
That's me.
Which we do have an image of here, which I absolutely just adore.
Okay.
That's obviously the C64 image.
Oh my god! Just the most old school pixel art you've ever seen.
I love sprite work so much. I think it's so clever.
It really is. Yeah. The color scheme is horrendous.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
But this is his second appearance, Tyrants of the Moonsea, is a 2019 expansion for Neverwinter Nights, which was originally released in 2002 by BioWare, which is pre-Dragon Age and their EA acquisition. So this game, this Neverwinter Nights, was, I think, what inspired EA to purchase them and send them on their own path.
I wasn't a PC gamer when I was a teenager, but I remember in high school I had a couple friends that were, and one of them, like, he could never wait to leave school. Like, he was so excited to get home just so he could play Neverwinter Nights. I never played it, but I just remember with this one dude, he was obsessed. He just could not stop playing it. And it was definitely one of those early successes. I mean, BioWare also did, like, Baldur's Gate.
Yep, they did Baldur's Gate. Yep. And our next honorable mention is the Minotaur lizard of 1E and 2E. And I got a fun little picture. I love these guys. They're so cool.
Okay. A Minotaur lizard.
It's really just a lizard with horns on it. But I thought it was fun, and I love it.
Oh, God. Looks like that one Minotaur crossbred with a very interesting species.
Oh, no.
Oh, hello, Komodo.
We might need a content warning for that joke.
Well, let's move on.
Okay. Well, we're going to move into that ancient Greece that you were very excited about early. So starting off our cultural lore segment today is a little bit of etymology.
Love it.
Shout out to Helen.
Shout out Helen Zaltzman. Yeah.
Friend of the show.
Friend of the show. Oh, God.
So the translation of Minotaur from ancient Greek to common is bull of Minos. Minos being the king of Crete and son of Zeus and Europa. So Crete is a place.
Okay, yeah.
So in Crete, the Minotaur was actually named Asterion, the name of the Minotaur's foster father, and was originally a proper noun. So when referring to Asterion, you would refer to him as the Minotaur because there's only one Minotaur.
Oh, okay.
It became a communal noun in the early 20th century due to the fantasy genre. So probably Gary Gygax.
Okay, right. Is this, and by communal noun, does that just assume that there's more than one, or does that mean like, is that what also means where it's like Minotaur is plural as well as singular?
In this case, I'm referring to Minotaurs as a species.
Okay, gotcha.
So Mino, Mini, and Mine, as well as Tor and Tar, are all recognized as correct pronunciations.
Jeez. So there's no getting it wrong on this one, is what you're saying.
Nope.
We literally can't fuck it up.
Clear.
Wait, give me a chance. Give me a chance. I'll fuck it up.
Minotaur.
Minotaur. Nailed it.
Yeah, perfect. So I obviously say Minotaur.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, I say Minotaur. I'm a tour guy.
Right.
Not a tour guide, just a tour guy.
Right.
You're the tour guide today? I don't know. Move on. Ignore me.
All right. So Greek origins. Here we go. So after Minos ascended to the throne in Crete, he prayed to Poseidon to send him a white bull as a sign of his favor. Minos was then to sacrifice the bull to honor Poseidon, but after seeing how beautiful it was, he decided to keep it. He also believes, for whatever reason, that Poseidon would accept a substitute sacrifice, because if there's anything we know about the Lord of the Ocean, is that he's forgiving.
Well, I just assume all gods are fickle, so I'm with Minos on this one.
So Poseidon was having none of that shit, so he decided to punish Minos by having his wife Pasiphae fall in love with the white bull.
Okay.
Pasiphae had the craftsman Daedalus make a hollow cow she could enter to trick the bull into physical relations.
And you thought my joke needed a content warning.
This wasn't a joke.
What the hell? That's messed up.
Yep. She then gave birth to the Minotaur, which she nursed from birth, but it quickly grew giant and fierce and had no real nourishment, so it just straight up began to eat people.
My God, this was a mistake.
Uh-huh. Minos then went to the Delphic Oracle for advice, and she told him to get Daedalus to craft a labyrinth to hold the Minotaur.
Oh my God! And isn't Daedalus? Isn't he like he's a famous craftsman, right? Or he's not a god, right? I'm thinking of someone else. He's like a famous. Okay. Oh my God.
Yeah, I believe he made Icarus's wings. I'm prepared to be corrected on that.
Oh, okay. I thought Icarus' father made his wings.
Oh, maybe he did.
I mean, it doesn't matter.
No, it certainly does not.
Oh, no. Yeah, you're right, because he is the father of Icarus. Just Google
okay,
it.
cool.
There you go.
Perfect. So the main story of the Minotaur that is commonly told is that of Theseus and the Minotaur. So there are many different stories, but this is the one I'm choosing to tell. And it's where Androgeus, the son of Minos, who was this absolute boss. He was the Bo Jackson of the Pan-Athenic games.
I'm going to assume Bo Jackson is some sort of sports person.
Yeah, there's a link there in the show notes for you if you want. But essentially, he was like the best baseball player and the best football player at the same time.
Oh, okay. Legend.
Yeah. So the Pan-Athenic Games was a competition held in Athens every 4 years from 566 BC to the 3rd century AD, which is like the third most important games in Greece behind the Pan-Hellenic and the Olympic, of course. So Androgeus kicked so much ass that he was eventually ambushed by the Athenians and murdered.
Oh my God.
Yeah, imagine being so good at sports, like you are such a good hockey player for the Toronto Maple Leafs that the New York Rangers ambush and murder
you. We've had enough.
Yeah. So Minos then obviously waged a war against Athens to avenge his son. During the assault, Athens fell victim to a cruel plague, and a treaty was eventually formed between Crete and Athens, where every 7 years, Athens would send 7 youths and 7 maidens to satiate the hunger of the Minotaur.
Okay.
I don't know why that was the price of surrender, but here we are.
Yep. It's a bit odd.
So on the third, what we're going to call the Hunger Games, was set to take place. Theseus, the son of Aegeus, the king of Athens at the time, volunteered to just slay the Minotaur and promised he'd fly a white flag on his way back if he was successful, but his ship would sail with black sails if he was killed. So once in Crete, Minos' daughter, Ariadne, fell in love with Theseus and helped him navigate the labyrinth. The most common in folklore is by giving him a ball of string to help him retrace his path.
Classic.
He did eventually find and kill the Minotaur with his bare hands, and then he and Ariadne sailed from Crete back to Athens. And there's this fun little plate I found, this iconography of Theseus killing the Minotaur.
Decidedly not with his bare hands.
No, that was
He's got a sword in that one.
That seemed to be a flourish that was added later. So on the way back to Athens, good guy Theseus decided to abandon Ariadne on the Isle of Naxos, where she eventually becomes the wife of Dionysus and has her own adventures, which I'm sure we'll touch on eventually. Mm-hmm. But Theseus then continued to go onwards to Athens, but he forgot to fly the white sail. So King Aegeus would come out to this cliff every day looking for the boat, but he saw the black sails come in. So he then threw himself off the cliff. The sea that he landed in is actually now named after him of this event, and it's the Aegean Sea.
Oh, that's all right. I mean,
yeah.
It's not. He threw himself off a cliff, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, so this Aegeus throwing himself off the cliff then secured the throne for the returning Theseus, who also went on to have many other adventures, including this whole thing in Hades with Persephone. And
oh, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack there, but we're just going to skip right past it all.
Can I just say, you did a me on this one, where you just read a whole bunch and you were like, yeah, it's not all related to the Minotaur, but it's just too good to avoid.
Yeah, I really enjoyed researching this one.
I can tell, yeah.
Yeah. I've been looking forward to a couple of creatures. This is one of them. One of my next ones is another one that I've been really looking forward to for a couple of years now. Cool. So
that's what's fun is that in 2 weeks from this being released, which is not far off from our recording time, by the way, listeners, I still haven't picked my creature, so I have no idea what he's got his next one planned. I have no idea what I'm doing next.
I think I have the rest of the year planned.
You would.
Yeah, I haven't written them though. Which brings us on to our often forgotten section, the differences between D&D and cultural lore. The biggest difference is that there is multiple Minotaur in Dungeons & Dragons, and possibly Dungeons & Dragons being responsible for there being a Minotaur race, whereas there was only the one in lore. Mm-hmm. Other than that, it's not far off. Bloodthirsty, labyrinth, eats people, like, not crazy. They don't really focus on the Minotaur part of the Greek myth so much as the bestiality and fratricide.
Right. Gotcha.
So my favorite part of the show is the pop culture references.
Most of which I almost never get.
So first and foremost, we're going to throw up a Gustave Doré image because in Dante's Inferno, they find the beast having been damned for violent natures, where it was once believed that the Doré interpretation, was the first depiction of it with a bull head.
Oh, that's actually a really cool picture.
Yeah, I mean, Gustave Doré is incredible. Look him up if you haven't yet. That unfortunately has since been disproved. So originally in most of the lore, it's a boar body with a human head, but it is not the case. This is the first bullhead. So next is a series of etchings called the Vallard Suite, featuring a lot of the Minotaur by a little guy you may have heard of, Pablo Picasso.
Yeah.
So this image is called Minotaur Kneeling of Sleeping Girl and is an etching from 1933. So Pablo Picasso did this whole fucking suite for Count Vallard of just the Minotaur creeping on pretty girls.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
They're all real weird. That's the most appropriate one I could find.
All right. Don't go to our Instagram for this one because it probably won't be there. It's creepy.
Yeah. Next up is AC Odyssey. There is a mission where you visit the Palace of Gnosis in order to kill a Minotaur. I haven't made my way to Odyssey yet, but it's next on the list.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have Hades by Supergiant Games. There is a Minotaur in Elysium.
Okay. I've played Hades. Have you played Hades?
No, I haven't.
It's really good. I don't really like roguelike games that much, but it is one of those ones that it's so solid because every time you reset, there's an endless amount of dialogue. It's actually really cool. Like just the way every time you reset, there's something new to see. It doesn't feel as repetitive that way, at least story-wise. I know you're not necessarily a video game story person, but...
Yeah, and I've actually so I listened to a show that spoiled it, and I really like the concept of it and the storyline, and it sounds really good. I just don't know if the gameplay is for me. If it ever comes back on Game Pass, I'm absolutely going to give it a shot.
Give it a go, for sure.
Next up is Castlevania, the Rondo of Blood, that just has Minotaurs as regular-ass enemies.
Sure. I've never played Castlevania.
The Rondo of Blood's a really good one. Okay. Yeah.
I feel like even admitting that is like offensive to most gamers.
No, I mean it requires a very specific taste. I played my first one like 2 years ago for the Game Boy, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't enjoy all the traversal. Like I like linear games. Yeah. But like compared to Metroid, I actually quite like this.
Yeah. Like Metroidvania stuff, anything platformy, like you love that shit. I have no time for it.
Yeah, I don't actually care for Metroidvania games.
No,
but I do like the platform. No, I don't. Like I couldn't get into Hollow Knight or the only Metroid game I've really been able to get into is Fusion, which is very linear.
Okay.
But the next up is not a video game. It is a movie from 2006 called Minotaur by Lionsgate Film, starring Tom Hardy, Tony Todd, Ingrid Pitt, and Rutger Hauer.
Oh.
Somehow I've never heard of or seen this movie, which leads me to believe it was direct to video.
I mean, it would have been around the time you and I were both graduating high school.
I still am a huge Tony Todd fan. Like,
yeah, okay.
He plays the Minotaur.
Oh. Yeah, I mean,
for those of you who don't know, Tony Todd was the Candyman.
Oh, let's see. Okay. Funny. Minotaur. Yeah, I mean, I have no idea.
And apparently it's just a dramatic retelling of the myth of Theseus and the Minotaur. So,
all right.
Who knows? Yeah. Next up is Into My Domain. It is from DC Comics, and it's Ferdinand Kithotar, friend and chef of Diana Prince, and that's him right there from Wonder Woman Bloodlines.
Kithotar? Like a Minotaur named Keith?
Well, he's from Kithara, not Minos.
Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Kithira. Yeah, he's from a different island of Greece.
Fair enough. That makes more sense.
I do think one of us is now going to play a Minotaur called Keith.
Oh my god! And I honestly, I just because I followed the notes we're going, I totally passed over the fact that you said his name is Ferdinand.
Oh yeah,
and I was just gravitated toward Keith. Oh god, it's so dumb.
And as always, we have a Marvel counterpart. There's actually quite a few Minotaurs in the Marvel universe, but we're going to talk about, or I'm going to honorably mention Rintrah, who is a green Minotaur and the one-time Sorcerer Supreme. This image is him as appeared in Doctor Strange 2, The Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, cool.
So if I remember my lore correctly, Rintra is an interdimensional traveler, and Minotaurs actually come from a better place, like a greener pasture fields.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And the last one on the list is my favorite. It is Batman, the Animated Series, Season 1, Episode 41. If you're so smart, why aren't you rich? It is the first episode featuring the Riddler. This episode was my childhood.
Oh my god, that picture's so good.
Yeah, and they surf on this giant golden hand known as the Hand of Fate. Like, it's just,
oh my god,
it is a lot.
The Minotaur's just like basically just a giant gold construct.
Yep, he is exactly that. In fact, I have the quote that shuts him down here. And it's, of course, a riddle.
Yep.
I have millions of eyes, yet I live in darkness. I have millions of ears, yet only 4 lobes. I have no muscles, yet I rule 2 hemispheres. What am I? Kevin Conroy obviously bitches him out. That's simple, the human brain. And then the Minotaur just shuts down, and then Batman turns to Robin and just explains it to him.
It's so patronizing.
Yeah. It has millions of visual and auditory nerves, 4 lobes, 2 hemispheres, and the only thing Edward Nygma respects.
Oh, God, that's funny. That's really good, actually. I didn't expect your Batman reference. Well, but I'm reeling here. Season 1, episode 41?
Yeah.
How many episodes per season? That's insane.
This was the longest season by far. So, like, back in the 90s, there was this crazy thing where certain shows would actually, like, a season would actually span multiple years. So season 1 of Batman TAS actually spans like 2 years.
No kidding.
Same with Ninja Turtles. The 1986 Ninja Turtles season 2 is like 56 episodes. And actually spans like 2 years. Yeah. And that went for 10 fucking seasons. Yeah.
That's why I had no idea. Like, nowadays, you're lucky if you get more than 8. And I mean, but also, a lot of TV shows are going longer. But even the 20-minute formats, like...
Yeah, they're 8 to 12. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I remember when they were capped at, 24, 25. And that's still through the 80s and 90s, like Cheers and Frasier days and stuff like that. But...
Reboot was 24. Most animes are 24 to 26.
50 something. Wow. I missed that boat, I guess. I had no idea.
It might actually be more than that. And like shows like Cops.
So where did they draw the line on whether or not it was a season? Like, was it a story arc of some kind? Or
I have no idea.
They had no rules. There were no rules.
That's probably it. And shows like Cops, the cartoon show from the late 80s, that was 1 season. It's like 86 episodes.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty. It's a lot.
Yeah, it's so weird to think about, because I've hit the point in my life where I'm actually getting annoyed with people saying, "Have you watched that yet?" And I'm like, "No, I don't have time to watch anything. Just stop it. Leave me alone."
So season 1 is 60 episodes, spanning from 92 to May of 93. And season 2 is 10 episodes.
It's total anarchy over there in animated Hollywood.
The 90s were a wild time.
Oh my God. You're telling me.
But you know what else is wild? Big thank you to the darkness that our unofficial sponsor, Strange Fellows Blackmail Stout, has brought to our lives. Going down easy on these hot days.
The old summer stout. Never hurt nobody.
Yeah. Right?
I mean, what I do love about the old Strange Fellow... just the cans. They always have these like, oh, Odin's crow and blah blah blah, or Odin's raven, yada yada, on the black maple stout. And they always have like their Guardian White IPA is like about the dragon that's on it, and they just like they lean just slightly enough into some like mythology just for fun, and it always feels so fitting for what we're doing, especially when we cover things like this.
Yeah, always fantastic. But that brings us into the mechanics. So don't get your hopes up here, because we've gone through all the interesting stuff.
Oh no! Of course, this creature is going to be a low CR. Why wouldn't it be? That would make no sense.
Yeah. So full disclosure, we're not going to be talking about the Minotaur PC race at all, because that's kind of outside of our purview. This show being for specifically aimed at DMs and GMs. So the Minotaur creature is a CR3.
Boo!
With 14 natural armor, 76 HP. It is large, chaotic evil, and has a movement speed of 40 feet.
It's like 5e is obsessed with low level.
It really is. That's the whole thing.
Despite them being unable to admit that high level is broken as fuck.
I think they just assume that you're not going to be able to keep a game going for long enough to get to high level.
That's the worst. Oh my god.
Yeah. They have dark vision 60 feet, and they speak Abyssal. So that's all right.
All right.
With a couple of abilities here. I actually really like the abilities. So the first is charge, then move 10 feet in a straight line and hit with a gore attack. You can add 2d8 piercing to the gore. And if the target is a creature, it is a DC 14 strength save or proned, or push back 10 feet, GM's discretion.
Wait, if the target is a creature. Oh, it's
yeah,
probably just
verbatim.
Referring to the fact that it might go prone. I guess it could push back that bookshelf if it wanted to.
It could, yeah.
But maybe not knock it prone. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's a golem, or I don't know what they were thinking of here.
Creature's a catch-all. Creature's everything with a step block or character sheet. So
I guess so, yeah.
It's specifically meaning not object, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not going to push the bookshelf back 10 feet.
Bookshelves are immune to charge.
Minotaur's kryptonite. Things that hold knowledge.
Just general inanimate objects.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Next up here is Labyrinthine Recall, so it can perfectly recall any path it has traversed.
Oh, okay.
Which I think is just a great ability.
Yeah. I mean, that's an interesting one. Like, how could a player take advantage of that, I wonder? How could a GM take advantage of that? What would a player do thinking they're clever, in which this would counteract and they wouldn't see it coming? You know what I mean?
Illusion magic would be a good one. Pass without a trace, I think you could get away with.
Yeah. If you put up an illusory wall, like this creature would turn back and go, nope, I know that's not a wall because I know exactly where I was.
Yeah, but it would know for a fact that it can't push it.
All because of the very meticulous wording of if the target is a creature.
So stupid.
Oh, God. Anyway.
The next ability is Reckless. So at the start of its turn, it can essentially go Reckless, where it has advantage on melee attacks and disadvantage on attacks versus the creature.
It can go Reckless?
Yeah, so it can choose to go Reckless as a free action, and then it has...
Sorry. This is like Reckless Attack. This is like the Barbarian's Reckless Attack, right?
Yep. Okay. That's exactly what it is. Yeah, it has advantage on melee attacks and disadvantage on attacks versus it.
Gotcha. I think the phrasing just threw me off, but yeah, I totally get it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gain the advantage, but put yourself at a disadvantage at the same time.
Yep, exactly. I may have just said it wrong. And then it has 2 attacks. The first is the aforementioned Gore, which is a +6 to hits, 5 feet, so melee, and 2d8 piercing. So in combined with a charge, it can move 10 feet and do up to 4d8 piercing damage.
Well, the 10 feet's like a minimum 10 feet. It's not just 10 feet, right?
No, it can move up to its full complement, which is 40 feet.
Cool.
Next up is the Great Axe, which is a +6 to hit, also melee, and 2d12 +4. So for a CR3, this thing hits pretty fucking hard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say 2d4 +4 or 2d12, sorry, +4. That's no slouch.
No, I'm actually pretty. As far as CR3s go, I'm pretty happy with the Minotaur, and I think I've used it in a few different scenarios, which I quite enjoy.
And I think all in all, too, it's like as disappointing of a CR this creature is. It's so simple that it is so easy to increase its power.
Yes, of course. And it would be easy to run in a horde or anything like that. Like
it would be so easy, yeah. Just like bump the AC, bump the HP, to according levels, increase the damage. Like that's it. That's all you need to do. There's nothing. Yep. Everything else is pretty contextual, so that's easy. Yeah, make this creature a fucking CR8 at least. Just do it.
Oh yeah, easily.
Yeah.
Just add a bunch of D12s.
Yeah. Increase the damage bonuses and add another D12 or 2 and call it a day. Like you're good to go. Yeah. The 14 natural armor really annoys me. It's so low. It's so low. I know larger creatures always have a lower AC, but man, that is low.
Yeah, but it is just a fucking cow.
But it's not. It's not just a cow. It's an anthropomorphized creature that's like blood rage.
My point is that it's still flesh. Like you're still just cutting into flesh. Like,
but you're barbarian. Your party's barbarian. Your party's barbarian would have more AC than that. At the
For
same
sure,
level.
But we're not talking about your party's barbarian. We're talking about this cow with an axe. Like, of course its AC is going to be low. Give it some plate mail. Like, there's no reason it couldn't have like custom plate mail or scale mail like we see in the 40 art.
I also makes me want to be like, it's constantly reckless. Not that it can start on its turn. Like I would just make it constantly reckless and and then boost the hell out of its stats.
It might be cool to look at some of the other barbarian abilities too, like not like the animal stuff, but maybe like the spiritual barbarian.
Okay. Yeah.
I hadn't really thought about it before now. But,
do go on.
Appreciate that. I'm sure there's some cool abilities you can pull from the Ancestral Guardian, like Spirit Shield or something like that.
Yeah, it's a really cool one actually, especially if it'd be really cool if you had a scenario where you had these like twin Minotaurs or something like that, and maybe
Minotaurs, got it. Yeah.
One's an Ancestral Guardian style thing, and the other one's like more of the animal instinct thing or whatever. And they work in tandem. That would actually be really fun, I think, because the Ancestral Guardian has like an ability where you can reduce damage to that's given to an ally like from a distance even. I think.
Yeah, that's Spirit Shields.
Yeah, it's really cool.
And Path of the Berserker has the Intimidating Presence, which is pretty neat. So any creature that can see or hear you within 30 feet must succeed on a Wisdom save or be frightened until the end of your next turn, which I think is just a great passive ability. Yeah. Like, why wouldn't you be scared of this giant cow with a big fuck-off axe that just reeks of death?
And if you want, you just could be like, put like if you want to be really crazy, put a little DC 2 on it, but then make it stop someone's heart.
Yeah, there you go.
blood runs is gone still.
Yeah, there you go. Throw a second DC on it. Yeah. So I think there's some cool ideas to make it like a bigger, badder Minotaur if that's the road you want to go down. I actually quite like them as like low level, like not like boss creatures, but like you could slot this in place of a bugbear and it would do way more damage.
Yeah. That's fair. Yeah. I really want this creature to be terrifying in the most basic sense. I just want it to be hyper aggressive and just you feel like you're coming into your own as an adventurer and you've got a solid skill set because you're like level 8 or 9 now. And this creature just doesn't give a shit about your skill set.
No.
It is able to mess you up. Like, that's what I want out of a Minotaur. So I would probably never use this at level 3. I would find a way to boost it and use it that way.
That's fair. Yeah, I like the idea of giving it a passive ability where you're just, roll a save or shit your pants.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Not like, not like paralyzed or anything like that, because I don't want to take anybody out of the game, but, we'll save at the top of every turn. And if you fail, you have disadvantage on your attacks. Or if it's reckless constantly, you just have a flat attack.
I especially like to imagine that if you are encountering this in a labyrinth, it's very likely tight quarters, which makes it that much more dangerous.
Yep, because it's going to see you from 10 feet away.
Yeah.
And as we talked about in the D&D lore, a sense of smell is so crazy that I read somewhere, it's not in my notes here, but I read somewhere that that's the reason they have the labyrinthine recall, is that their sense of the olfactory is so heightened that they're almost like following a scent wave, like a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Yeah. That's a good call. I love that. Yeah. And like tight quarters too, I would assume, I can't remember what the 5e rules are for this, but if you get pushed back and into a wall or an object or another person, you're looking at some extra bludgeoning damage that you could rule on easily.
Yeah, or maybe even have the horns go right through. Like if you've got a skinny little elf at the front and 3-foot horns on this Minotaur, I'm not 3 feet deep.
Oh my god. So you're getting that 2d6 on 2 different PCs at the same time?
Yeah, and then one is essentially grappled, so it's just like stuck on the horns.
Oh, that is horrifying. And then bleeding out.
Yeah.
Roll for organ damage.
Roll a strength check to save your spleen.
Oh, man.
How does it feel that your ranger now has 2 punctured lungs? But speaking of death and killing things, we, for the first time ever, I think, have a bonus creature in this episode.
Hot
Freeman,
damn.
cue the drop.
Boop, bop, doodle, boop, bop, doodle, boo. Bonus creature time. Was that the right job?
Yep, that was perfect. I'm definitely going to clip that. So instead of making our skeletons episode extra long, I figured we would throw the Minotaur skeleton in with the Minotaur episode.
Okay, that's fun. Okay, well, make a note that we remove Minotaur skeleton from the skeletons episode.
Will do. Yeah.
Also, no bone nagas.
No bone nagas. No.
Oh god.
So as per usual, when skeletons arise, they are animated by dark magic, and the mighty Minotaur is not immune to this. They do make obedient servants when raised from the dead, but they interpret commands literally.
Oh god. So they're gonna be what you would be if I was a necromancer and you died.
Pretty much. Yep. And if ever freed from the constraints of necromancy, they begin to pantomime actions from their past lives. And if they ever interact with a living being, they are compelled to kill. And as a mindless skeleton, they possess little sense of self-preservation, and they don't require air, food, drink, or sleep. Your standard undead stuff.
I feel like I know we've covered a couple undead things, not necessarily skeletons so much, but I feel like that description is a really good example of how unspecific the art of necromancy is. It is like they don't have it nailed down. No. It's like it's just barely a cut above animate object, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it is animating an object.
Right, basically.
Animating a rug is way safer than animating a skeleton.
It was involving the personality of said creature or soul and such. And they haven't figured it out perfectly to like make it exactly what they want, because this thing it's got parameters that are out of your control.
I think it's fun.
Yeah,
I really like that about skeletons, Skelly Boys.
Skelly Boys.
Yeah, but these are less than CR, making them CR2.
Lame.
Because there is no flesh and muscle to get through. They have AC 12 natural armor.
Lame.
They have an HP of 67, They are large, lawful evil this time, and 40-foot move speed.
I beg to differ. You've put them down as the size of Le Rouge.
That's just Cajun for large. I've been watching a lot of Tom Segura lately. They are vulnerable to bludgeoning, immune to poison, and immune to being poisoned and exhausted. They retain their 60-foot dark vision and their ability to understand abyssal, but they cannot speak because the tongue is a muscle. As for abilities, the only one they retain is charge, and their attacks are the exact same. So why not run a skeleton? It seems to be better in almost every way.
Seriously, that's more deadly at level 2. That's what the hell?
I'm gonna double check this now that you've got me.
That's. Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, their attacks are the same.
Wow.
Yep.
That's really dangerous. That's really dangerous.
Yep.
Holy crap.
Why run a regular skeleton? Why run a regular Minotaur?
Their max damage is like 28 damage.
Is that what 48 is?
Oh wait, what's 48? Shit. No, I was thinking the great axe. So 2d12.
Oh, the gore plus the charge.
Right. Oh, what's 4 times 8? Math. Go.
32.
Damn. At level 2?
Is it 32?
I think you're right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's 32.
You're the math guy. Why did I figure it out faster?
You didn't. I figured it out. You just confirmed it.
Shh. It's quiet.
Play back the tape.
But that's crazy though. 32 damage maximum at level 2. I'm pretty sure the wizard wouldn't have that much HP at level 4. Well, they might,
it'd be pretty close. Yeah,
it'd be close. But like that's a big hit. That's a big hit if you get it. Damn.
Yeah, don't fuck around with Minotaurs, I guess. Mm-hmm. Or fuck around and find out. Well, whatever you want.
I guess at the very least, given the low CR, at least they hit really goddamn hard.
They do. And, with 67 HP at level 2, this thing's going to last a couple of rounds.
Yeah, 67 HP versus 76, not a huge difference.
No, honestly, just run the skeleton.
Yeah, really, though. Really? Who'd have thought the secondary creature would be the better one?
I mean, only mathematically.
Yeah.
I think lore-wise, the regular Minotaur is obviously way more fun. These cultists who just want to be...
For sure.
Who want to go... These MAGA-ass cultists who want to go back to a time when America was great. And they just turn into cattle. I think it's a pretty apt metaphor. I don't know if we can release that.
I don't know either. Oh, God. Oh, God. It's got a little bit too political there.
Yeah. At least I now know that in my homebrew world, Baphomet is going to have like orange tan and like a yellow wig on at all times. My labyrinth is so big. It's the biggest.
It's the biggest labyrinth.
It's the greatest level of the abyss. My hands are regular sized.
Oh, God. Oh, sweet Jesus.
Oh, God. Oh, that covers homebrew. You got anything else?
Oh, God, I'm dying. Nope.
Okay.
I would spruce these dudes up. I would make them terrifying, simple creatures, and that's all I got, really. I do kind of love the idea of a labyrinthine adventure. I think it would be really tough. I think it would be, but it would end up being very similar to like what we call a dungeon dive, right? Where you go level by level, but instead of level by level, you'd have to organize access points almost for your level increases. But I that
Well, it depends on how you want to do it. You could do it as a hex crawl, like where you don't have a map in front of you and you roll survival checks, and I determine as the GM which way you go. Like as a player, you should never have the hex crawl map in front of you, right? Because you don't know where the fuck you are.
Right. Well, I mean, there's something to say about that. I mean, not the full map. You're right. Like you have like fog of war kind of thing.
Yeah.
But like that would be a little more difficult with like a hex, like an actual proper hex with the labyrinth, because you would assume the labyrinth.
No. But I mean, like
similar concept.
Like I have the map, and you guys can either draw a map as you're going, and you roll survival checks for each direction, and like, okay, I want to go north, but I don't actually know which direction north is. Like I have the actual map of the maze, and I keep track of where you guys are going, and it's up to you to draw your own maps of the maze or.
Right.
To not.
Right. Yeah, you'd get into a situation where you're talking with the players about, like, okay, for every segment I'm running down here, how many feet have we gone? And then you're probably in the background, like figuring things out with Labyrinth, where you're like, yeah, guess what? Wall closed off, and they're trying to retrace their steps. It's like, well, no, we went through here, and you'd be like, don't know what to tell you, bud. Something happened.
I think that'd be a lot of fun. Just to, you don't do it 5 feet by 5 feet, but you do it by like, I have a 5 foot by 5 foot map, and you do it by hallway. Yeah. And there are like, little courtyards or alcoves that you can camp in if you want to camp in, but you guys don't actually see the map until we go to combat, in which case it's, a 10 foot by 10 foot square, or, however long the hallway is. Like, you're in this 10 foot space, and here's 50 feet. I might actually write this. This sounds like a lot of fun to write.
Have you ever watched, I assume you've seen the movie Labyrinth. With David Bowie? Yeah.
Yep. And Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah. When Jennifer Connelly decides, Sarah, she's like, oh, I'm going to use I think it's lipstick or whatever. And she's like, writes an arrow onto this little tile. And underneath, these little gremlins come up. They come up and they lift it and they turn around and face it in a different direction. You're like, bastards. I love it. Yeah. What a great film.
As a GM, I think that would be a lot of fun to do. And then, you just run like proper random encounter tables. So instead of... every hour, it's, every 300 feet traversed or something like that,
Oh, that'd be wild.
Yeah, every 30 squares you move, I roll on the random encounter table. And, obviously still, 1 through 5 or whatever is still no encounter. But, there's, 5 through 10 are, the walls close in on you. Like you can have traps in the random encounter thing. You can have, maybe it's not an encounter per se so much as the labyrinth changes. Like these 6 paths turn horizontal as opposed to vertical.
Yeah. So that's we're talking about style of game here, which is really cool. What do you think the adventure hook would be for your labyrinth?
I'd probably just steal the same kind of adventure hook from something like White Plume Mountain. Like, here is a priceless treasure. All who enter disappear. Mm-hmm. Like I do it like straight up a minion run.
Yeah, and the adventurers are like, challenge accepted. I'll be the first that doesn't disappear. Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe just steal the lore from ancient Greek. Like every 7 years, they send in 4 adventurers to either kill the Minotaur and come back out,
or they are
be
the
praised as heroes, or they're the feed. And they're just chosen at random, like the Hunger Games. So.
I love it. That's actually really cool. I would be in for that. Yeah.
And none of this low level shit. Like I'm talking like 12th, 13th level, like real high level play. And then at the center is just like, they call it a Minotaur. It's like some mislabeled thing, or there's something got lost in translation 1,000 years ago, and it's actually just like a white dragon or a red dragon or something like that. Just that's been like trapped in this maze because it's too big to get out. Like somebody built this maze around a sleeping dragon to keep it in, and over time the lore has been so twisted and lost that it's go in and find this horde, something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I love it. I think it'd be really fun. It'd be a very different adventure for sure. And like one for like players that just want to like dig into survival and path tracking and lots of combat and low story kind of stuff. Yeah. Still lots of potential for role play, like loads of potential for role play, especially with like riddles and like different obstacles and encounters throughout, but like not necessarily.
And you can run into other adventurers down there.
Right.
You know, like people who are dying of famine and starvation, you know, like I ate my friends, you know, like
right.
You would have to get into cannibalism.
We were the last batch and it's been 7 years.
Yeah. I would probably do it annually. I think it's like an annual thing. Depending on how many players are in the game. But
But you can still find that one guy that's been there for 20 years. Fucking Jumanji shit. What's your name? My name's Wobbin Williams.
Yeah. Oh, I was thinking of Colin Hanks, but yes. Yeah, exactly like that. And, you know, like there are, you know, opportunities to introduce new players. I would want to experiment with actual survival rules. Like, okay, how heavy is your pack? Like if you're encumbered, you got to let me know. And, you know, it's one of those things where you could actually start encumbered.
Right.
Or, you know, like you could bring a pack mule in and the mule has all your rations. But if that mule dies, you know, you're stuck carrying these rations. Or like, how many rations do you think you get? Like, how many weeks do you think you're going to be down there? Or how many weeks do you want to prepare for?
It's math nerds game. Cause like, you could start encumbered, but when you become less encumbered, you have more advantage, but you also know you're running out of supplies at the same time.
Or you could take your first round of every combat to throw off your pack.
Welcome to D&D resource management.
I mean, that's my shit. My favorite game right now is The Long Dark.
So good. If anyone could pull it together and make that, I think it would be you. So,
well, if any of you mathletes out there are interested in that or would want to play that, hit me up. And you can do so on Twitter at EncounterPod. You can find us on Facebook at /EncounterPod. Instagram to see most of these images, probably not the sexy Picasso at encounter.pod. You can find all of our back episodes, including our last week in August, where we talked about Omu and Schultz at our home on the web, encounterthis.ca, where all those episodes are available ad-free. And if you like this, you can help us out by donating to us on Patreon at patreon.com/encounterthis. For $5 a month, you'll get a handwritten thank you letter and access to our show notes. You can see these documents that we're putting together. I'm trying to put more links into them because I do know that we have some followers who follow along. So you can click on some things specifically in this one. You can click on the monitor lizards. You can click on the Vallard suite from Picasso and see the entire suite that's available. And for $10 a month, you can suggest a creature. Maybe there's another big bad classical Greek creature that we haven't touched on, like the Wyvern or
the what now?
Wyvern, the other Drake.
Wyvern.
It's one of those words I think I've only ever read, not pronounced out loud until now.
James and I actually had a beer before we together before we record this. Just throwing that out there.
IRL, as the kids are saying. So this episode's a little bit looser. Also, we haven't recorded for like 4 months.
Yeah.
But for $10 a month, you can suggest anything. It doesn't have to be a D&D creature. It could be from any TTRPG. That's our only restriction. Maybe you want us to cover Rita from the Power Rangers. I don't know. Or Goldar.
I want to cover Goldar.
Goldar's fucking dope.
Yeah.
Not in the new movie. In the reboot, Goldar was a bitch. But you know, like any maybe you want us to cover the putty. I'm running out of Power Rangers references. So thank you so much for listening. And if you have time, rate and review us on your platform of choice. Spotify now accepts ratings, as does Apple Podcasts. Every one of those positive reviews helps other people find us. And tell your friends. Fuck it. GM or not. Maybe they're history nerds. Maybe they just, I don't know. I want to say have a good time, but we have a very specific niche here, so maybe not everybody would enjoy this show.
We got a couple hardcores. It's great.
We do have a couple of hardcores, yeah. But if you want to find out who our hardcores are for $1 a month on that Patreon, you can get access to our private Discord where they get they get into it. You know, we have discussions about the episodes. You know, we help each other out when somebody's looking for assistance with a concept or a game or mechanics. It's pretty lively over there, and it's a good time. So for $1 a month, you can be part of that.
Hell yeah!
Thanks so much for listening, and we'll be back in your ear holes in 2 weeks with whatever the fuck Freeman decides to do next.
Back in your ear holes.
It's a Kevin Smith quote.